Are you ready to lose your head? We spent an extended weekend in Sleepy Hollow, the real-life Halloween town, and today I'll show you how to make the most of your own 2 to 3 day trip to maximize your time. I've broken experiences down into 4 key categories, including spooky sites, history, nature, and of course, food, in honor of Ichabod Crane, a legendary foodie and eater. So let's settle up, Buttercup! Let's ride! So Tarrytown is the modern village of Sleepy Hollow, the setting of the short story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving. Widely recognized as America's first ghost story, the tale includes a headless Hessian horseman dressed in black, sometimes with a pumpkin in place of his head, who rides his victims down and decapitates them. The story has stuck around for so long, probably because it pulls from real ghost stories to blend different levels of fantasy, reality, and history to not only preserve the past, but act as a portal to it. But you don't need to take my word for it. See for yourself at our first stop, the Armour-Stiner Octagon house. An 8-sided mansion straight out of a Gothic novel that also happens to be a $7 million failed utopian experiment. The Armour-Stiner house is perfect for getting into the Halloween spirit, but in true Victorian fashion, it celebrates the seasons all year. Come back for Yuletide fun along with spring and summer festivities. The guided tour goes over the owners of the house, all a bit eccentric, and the architecture, including the uniqueness of the Octagon house in its brief, shining moment in history. My top favorite room was the Egyptian Revival Room, one of the only in existence furnished with its original contents, followed by the Curiosity Room and then the Greenhouse, complete with octagon-shaped fountain, perfect for moody strolling and contemplation. Also perfect for moody strolling is the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, birthplace of the legend. Irving's final resting place is here, along with Rockefeller and Carnegie and a number of other famous wealthy people. Supposedly, this cemetery was home to the original real-life ghost story of the Headless Horseman, which is what Irving would have heard and based his own story on. It's also home to the Bronze Lady statue, the current real-life ghost story of the cemetery, since the horseman long ago entered reality as a literary figure, and there are too many creepy stories about her. Allegedly, she watches over the tomb of the Civil War General Samuel Thomas and frequently can be heard weeping at night. If you sit on her lap, you may die or be cursed for life. I said creepy stories, not good ones. The school kiddos thought long and hard about these. Fact or fiction? Who knows at this point? But it is a fact that the other ghost hunting to be done in this cemetery is at the Headless Horseman Bridge. There's a lot of speculation on the original bridge location. The consensus is it would have been somewhere in the village to catch unsuspecting prey. Feel free to hunt it down yourself. The replica is designed to sound like a galloping horse when cars drive across it. As you gallop away from the Headless Horseman Bridge, keep the spooky vibes alive and trot on over to the Jack-o'-lantern blaze. Walk the immersive pumpkin trail on the grounds of an 18th century estate where thousands of hand-carved jack-o'-lanterns sculpted by a team of local artisans light up the night, complete with an all-original soundtrack, synchronized lights, and special effects. Do note this is an extremely popular event and this fills up fast. Book your spots online far in advance. Once you blaze through the pumpkin trail, carve out some time to visit the Old Dutch Church, where the past is dying to greet you. Founded around 1685, this is the church and churchyard that appear in Washington Irving's short story and is often confused with the adjacent Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. The church's 3-acre burying ground is, of course, the supposed burying ground of the Headless Horseman, and also the resting place of local citizens who likely inspired Irving's characters of Katrina Van Tassel and Brom Bones. To continue on the horseman's trail, gallop across the street to the Philpsburg Manor to stir up a lively past. Enter the year 1750 through this living history museum, when the manor was a thriving milling and trading complex. Programs and events show how Dutch, African, and Native American cultures became entwined at this colonial outpost. After stepping back in time here, make your way to Kykuit, the Rockefeller estate, where the only thing richer than the history is the view. Here we are divulging from the Horseman's Trail to explore the real history of the place, but as the name implies, this was the former estate of the Rockefellers. This is giving a year-round overview of the best sites with a few Halloween-specific experiences thrown in. Continuing on, a trip to Sleepy Hollow wouldn't be complete without a visit to Bannerman Castle, an abandoned fortress perched on a small island in the Hudson River. Accessible only by boat, the eerie atmosphere starts the moment you board. This haunting structure was once a munitions storage site for businessman Francis Bannerman, but now stands as a crumbling relic of the past. The guided tour takes you through the castle ruins, where you'll hear the ghost stories and historical facts that make this experience as spooky as it is beautiful. Also worth a stop if you're in the market for some spooky real estate. The abandoned Abercrombie Castle is on the market at the time of this video. For a couple million, these ruins made to resemble a Scottish medieval castle could be your home sweet home. I heard from the top of the tower, Manhattan can be seen. The views get even better at Croton Gorge Park, where you'll be drawn to the massive hand-hewn stone structure. After all, it's a real rock star of engineering. Pay an entrance fee to this park and get access to one of the finest feats of engineering in the country. It's said to be one of the largest hand-hewn stone structures in the world, right up there with the Egyptian pyramids. It took 14 years to build and was constructed in response to the fires and epidemics that plagued New York City caused by inadequate water supply and contaminated wells. After soaking up the grand scale of Croton, let the Sleepy Hollow Lighthouse beam you up with its maritime charm and historic allure. Just downriver from the legendary Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, you'll find the historic Lighthouse. This cast iron structure was built in the late 1800s to guide ships safely along the Hudson River. It's one of the few remaining lighthouses of its kind and offers a fascinating glimpse into the maritime history of the area. While no longer operational, you can still visit for a guided tour where you'll learn about the life of lighthouse keepers and their isolation from the mainland. After visiting, you might feel like a lighthouse keeper yourself, keeping your eyes peeled for all the light bites in Sleepy Hollow. If you've ever read the original short story, you'll know that Ichabod Crane, the main character, was a huge foodie. He ate his way across Sleepy Hollow then, and there's enough food there now for Ichabod to eat his way across the town in the afterlife. Whether you're a foodie or just looking for a quick bite between ghost tours, Sleepy Hollow's diverse culinary scene offers something for everyone. Really, there's so much here to try and a really interesting mix of cuisine. This was something that really surprised us because it was the one part of our trip we did zero research on because we were so busy with the Halloween stuff. It was a great unexpected twist and turned out to be one of the best parts of the trip. The Bistro 12, Bridgeview Tavern, Defiant Brewing, Do Good Spirits, and Bar Boutique were a few of the places we visited. Some of those were on our road trip in. So we even had an absinthe fountain, I believe, at Bistro 12, not only because we enjoy the taste, but because absinthe is said to enhance one's psychic sensitivity. So, something to think about when you're ghost hunting. And remember, Sleepy Hollow isn't just a town, it's an experience that will leave you spellbound. Ready? Get your head up here. Put that foot back. Ready? This is it. This is it. Let's ride. Who the fuck's beeping? You hear that? What?
Yeah.
He's not beeping at anything.
No, because he's not going that fast, so.